Welcome to WTF Wednesday. And today is a special episode because Batman is in the house.
I'm Batman.
You are Batman. But not as important, but equally as important, our show is going to be jam-packed today. We have a lot of things we're going to be talking about. Businesses that are COVID resilient and what that means and what they can do with their business financing. Some of the categories of the different industries that we're seeing having success with financing, and a ton. So please stay tuned. We will be back in just a moment.
It's Wednesday, WTF Wednesday. That's not to say there were not glitches, and there are still glitches happening.
Welcome to WTF Wednesday, where every week
we talk about stupid that we've encountered that you should try to avoid. Hey, Batman, how are you doing today?
I'm Batman.
Welcome, Tim, to the show.
Hello, Tim.
Tim's got a big show coming up after hours that I'm looking forward to. So besides, Trevor, that you're Batman, we need to get right into it because we have a lot of stuff to cover. We've been talking for a couple of weeks about lenders opening their doors and their coffers to certain businesses. And, let's just talk about some of the industries that we're seeing that are COVID resilient.
COVID resilient industries. Well, why don't we start first by just talking, we've touched on this last week about the COVID-19 impact on lending guidelines.
Yes, okay? The COVID impact statement. Yes.
First and foremost. Well, it's COVID impact statement is part of it, but also the very severe and strict guidelines. Essentially, if you want to borrow money from a bank to grow your business or to maintain your business during COVID, it's much more difficult to do that today during the pandemic for obvious reasons. But the good news is that lenders are opening their doors to consider opening the doors to the coffers where the money is stored to hand it out to business owners with a lot of very strict caveats, including, as you mentioned, Linda, a COVID-19 impact statement. Essentially, this is what COVID did to impact my business, this is the effect I've had on my business. This is what I'm doing right now to survive. This is my plan for thriving through the future until this unknown horizon arrives and this thing is over. So, COVID impact statement. In addition, much larger equity requirements. If you're buying something like a business or you're buying a commercial property, expect to have a much larger down payment requirement. Or if you're financing an existing business or an existing property, then substantially more equity. And equity for a business can be, hard assets, physical plant. It can be real estate, and it could be cash assets, liquid collateral. And then management experience. The lenders want to see, underwriters want to know that as a business person, you have deep experience and knowledge that helps guide you day to day through this disaster. And a minimum of 3 years, and really they're looking for something much deeper than that, but a minimum of 3 years. And then last but not least, two things. Cash flow. If you were cash flow negative, if you were cash flow challenged before the pandemic, don't bother. It's not going to happen. Unless you can document some crazy resilient feature of COVID that has massively infused and increased your cash flow. We know of such a business. Actually, we're working on a delicatessen acquisition right now where our clients are buying the delicatessen, and the deli closed for a short period of time because of the lockdown here in the state of Connecticut, but then reopened when Governor Lamont opened the state to some limited type of features. And over the summer, this delicatessen, which was rather challenged with cash flow in the previous year's financials, we've seen those. Hey, Rob, good morning and welcome. we're seeing this delicatessen is making money hand over fist all summer long through COVID. So, again, that's one of those finer points that we're really, really good at here at Aurora Consulting, at looking at that facet of your picture. Last but not least, Linda, I'm sorry, is listen, underwriting loans is tough stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot involved. Okay, but the last item, credit. High credit scores. They want to see 700 and better. And different lenders are going to be at different points on the scale there, 700 even, or 725 or 750, etc. So there you have it. Strict guidelines, and that's what lenders are looking for. Now, Linda, guide us through. Let's talk about businesses. We've identified a couple.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you to those who are joining us live. Robert Converse on LinkedIn, Rob Balasabas on YouTube, Tim, of course, hello Tim, on Facebook, and Santos Cortez on LinkedIn. Really appreciating you guys tuning in live. And for those who are watching us on the replay, Trevor that was a serious brain dump, Trev, on all the things that businesses have to be aware of. But
I'm Batman, I'm capable.
It's a grave consideration on what's going on. Tim, of course, just shout out to the guidelines. Yeah, it's really serious stuff. So one of the things that we wanted to also talk about is basically what the industries. You covered one example, but there are a few examples that we actually have a blog about it as well on our website. If you go to auroraconsulting.biz, you will see under the blog section, we wrote a blog that pretty much is what we're talking about today. But Trev, why don't we get into a couple of the industries, the manufacturing and writers, and a category you created, online motion. So yeah. So we need to talk about those.
Okay. What's interesting about preparing for today's show, Lynn, is that when you Google COVID-proof businesses, there's nothing. I get 3 pages of Google results that are essentially a lot of investment newsletters, Investopedia or CNBC, reporting about stocks that are doing well. I mean, I don't think I need to be reminded that Amazon and Netflix are doing phenomenal right now.
Right.
And healthcare providers. I was looking for businesses that are being reported by journalists as making it satisfactorily and thriving through COVID pandemic since March. So I didn't really find a lot. So I kind of reached deep into the Trevor Batman brain and came up with a couple of things that we've been exposed to in our time here at Aurora Consulting since we launched our practice. Number one, no brainer, logistics. It's all about supply chain, baby. The pandemic panic in March, it exposed the weakness in supply chains, especially for groceries. Linda, do you remember the grocery deliveries we used to get that we don't bother with anymore because they were so unprepared for the overwhelming demand? But resiliency came into the supply chain logistics business rather quickly out of necessity. Obviously, there was a shortage of drivers, shortage of vehicles. People were not coming into work due to lockdown requirements. So you didn't have people in the factories, the warehouses, or the stores to load the trucks or to prepare the packages to ship them out. But in terms of COVID-proof moving forward, logistics industry, you're going to have, I don't want to say you have an easy time, but lenders definitely will have a conversation with you and serious consideration of your financing request. And you know what? You need that money right now because this is still a growth business. The pandemic is continuing. So warehouses, the physical real estate there's commercial mortgages available for that property. Sorting equipment, the conveyor belts that run past, I'm always reminded about the I Love Lucy episode with the chocolates on the conveyor belt. And Lucy is stuffing chocolates in her mouth.
One of my favorite shows.
storage accessories, the metal shelving and so forth, forklifts, robots that go around the warehouse that assist in packing and picking, long haul trucks to get the stuff from your warehouse out in the Midwest to distribution points on the coast or vice versa. And finally, delivery vehicles. All of these types of facets of your logistics business, yes, not only are the banks opening up for kind of sort of what we vaguely call traditional type of financing, loans and lines of credit, with the caveats we presented earlier, but also there are other types of financing available, such as equipment financing, and we love talking about accounts receivable factoring for companies that have solid relationships with their vendors that they sell products to, and they send out invoices, and maybe there's a cash crunch and there's a 60-day return on an invoice before it gets paid. We can find money against that invoice right now to improve very quickly cash flow. So logistics. Anything you want to add on logistics before I jump into the next category, Linda?
No, you're on a roll. Why don't you just, keep going?
Oh man, I haven't had a lot of bread lately, and now I'm thinking about a buttered roll.
No, I do have to shout out to my BFF.
Hey, Lori.
Lori is hanging out with us, and just once again wanted to say thank you to Santos, who supporting the show with great content. And then, of course, Robert Converse says, happy Wednesday. Yes. Okay,
on to the next category. Kind of mind-blowing, but yes, professional writers.
Yeah.
And I might throw in there graphic design folks also, like our good friend Jack. Professional writers, folks who are writing for B2B content, whether it's an email newsletter for a business or website content for a business, or creating white papers that help a business guide decision-making and management challenges. Writers can thrive during COVID-19, especially with the trend towards remote working. There are many businesses, I'm sure, who are going to need a writer to sit down and kind of codify instruction manuals for employees. Are you gonna, if you're a business, are you really going to trust the IT guy or just a human resources person to put together some information? I mean, sure, anybody can compose a kind of bullet point email, but professional writers have always filled that niche in the B2B world to help businesses present this information, this kind of raw information from the HR or the IT people or management and so forth, and get it into something that is readable and understandable. So these folks are thriving right now. What's their challenge, Linda? The influx of amateurs who are part of the hustle economy, working at home, a laid off teacher, yoga instructor, massage therapist. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Or a restaurant worker working from home. You know what? I can string a couple of words together into a sentence that looks fairly intelligent. And those folks are competing with professional writers.
Well, I just retweeted this show on Twitter because there's a huge writing community on Twitter, #writing community. Which it just makes me love Twitter even more with all the writers that are out there. So I was very happy to see that on the list that we're seeing.
Let's throw this out there, Linda, to your writing community. What we have discovered since we became disaster financing experts back in March and April is that many self-employed persons, such as professional writers and graphic designers, do not understand that they are actually qualified for the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or what we call the EIDL, EIDL. And this program is still open through December 31st. So if you are a professional writer or a graphic designer and you have not yet applied for this program, which is meant to compensate you for the financial injury and harm to your practice you have received due to COVID, contact us today, because we will make this look so easy. You will think, wow, that grammar of that loan application was so well put together. Trevor's not only Batman, he's the Hemingway of finance.
Well, you've also had literally, it sounds like 27 cups of coffee. You are on
Hey,
a roll.
Lori. See the Lori gift to
Yes.
me? This is my Lori birthday present.
Yeah, that's awesome. So anyway, well, did I miss that you already talked about the category
No,
that
we
you
have
created?
we have two more categories. So manufacturing. Now, in general, a lot of manufacturers have been negatively impacted by COVID to the point where they're not thriving. Maybe they're kind of humming along and getting by, but essentially, and part of the reasons for that are essentially, how do you get your workers into the factory? Number two, what about your supply chain? I've read many stories about manufacturers who are up and running, and they've created protocols, safety protocols for their employees, and they've pivoted and created a product or a service resiliency through COVID. Like our good friend Andrew, who had a little manufacturing company in Long Island, and he pivoted in early weeks and started creating the plastic face shields for essential workers, health workers, and also the decals that go on the stores at grocery stores with the arrows one way, or the social distancing markers, the 6-foot markers. So there were a lot of manufacturers of that. But if their supply chain, because if you're going to manufacture something, you have to find the materials to put that, to build it, to create it. There have been a lot of supply chain issues there to get supplies. But if your manufacturing business has been able to meet those key points, employee protection, a pivot aspect to your business, or maybe your business manufactures something that's already, an essential item that is needed through COVID, and you can sell them, and you're already manufacturing that, then you're doing great. So the pivot or existing business. And there's some real confidence in the supply chain. You meet those features, banks want to talk to you with the limited type of financing that's available. They're going to have a lot more confidence in you in terms of that financing. Plus, if you call us here at Aurora Consulting, send us an email, send her a tweet. That's Linda Ray over there. I always get it backwards. Linda Ray, tweet or Instagram, reach out to us, because there's other types of financing we can assist you with, such as we mentioned earlier, factoring against your accounts receivable when you have long-standing relationships with reputable clients, customers you sell your products to, business lines of credit, and equipment financing as well. So there is financing available. That's the good news. Last but not least, I coined this phrase at 7 a.m. this morning: online motion. We saw a white paper a couple of months ago prepared by a very reputable source here in Connecticut, mainstreetct.org, and a shout out to our good friend Patrick, which this white paper demonstrated that 70% of small businesses have no or minimal online presence.
That's astounding. I mean, and we're talking just presence. Can you distinguish between moving your business online and having a presence? And is that what you're talking about with the 70%?
Essentially, yeah. Well, if you don't have any presence at all, or a minimal presence, and you have not spent the last 5 months getting the bulk of your business, something about it, onto the internet, what are you doing?
That's not being COVID resilient at all.
Not at all. Not forward thinking at all. Remote workers, a lot of economists are saying, pandemic has changed things. But what the economists are not saying is things are going to go back exactly the way they were. Oh, no. A lot of the new features of our economy are going to be moving forward into post-COVID economic utilization, including remote work, including robust delivery and logistics. Amazon's very close to getting an approval from the FAA for drone deliveries.
Right.
So we're looking at, kind of like a bright new world somewhere way down the pandemic horizon.
I'm going to interrupt you because you're not only, from New York City and talking 1,000 miles an hour and had 27 cups of coffee, but this show, we don't usually spend too much time live on the show because, it's just a lot of information, but I do want everyone to know that everything we talked about today, between the key points that financing a business should be considered, the categories that are typically COVID resilient, we wrote a blog. If you go to our website, auroraconsulting.biz, and you go to the top of the where the menu items are, there's Let's Blog. If you go there, the most recent blog is everything that we talked about in depth in this blog. So
how about we wrap it up with, I'll run down the 5 key points.
Yes.
To obtain financing for your COVID survival of your business, Linda, and then maybe you can wrap up our show today with the 4 things that we're offering here at Aurora Consulting to assist businesses through COVID. So, COVID survival to get financing. Number 1, management experience. Real heft there, more than 3 years experience and deeper experience whenever possible. Number 2, equity. Whether it's cash liquidity, real estate collateral, or other kind of convertible equity, plant assets, etc. Expect a lender to want substantial equity and kind of float the number 30% in your head. Number 3, credit. High credit scores in excess of 700 for principles of the business. Number 4, cash flow. Demonstrate how your business is cash flow positive during and through the pandemic. And number 5, finally, rock solid pandemic business plan. State the case for how your business is surviving now, how you will succeed today through the crisis, with a focus on strategies, profit centers, and an expanded vista that takes into account the new paradigm.
Awesome. Well, we just want to say thank you. Please visit the blog. It has everything we talked about today in detail, bullet points, and expanding on those points. Please give us a call or email us at curious@auroraconsulting.biz if you need to discuss different types of financing for your business. We have niche lenders, or is it niche lenders? Niche, either way. We have niche lenders depending on your type of business. We do SBA disaster financing for businesses who have not yet applied for the EIDL loan. We help businesses structure their business plan, which is more important than ever. The business loans it's mandatory that these lenders want to know how you are structuring your business to survive this thing. And finally, we have a flat fee business financing consultation. Maybe you don't need us to secure the loan, or you don't need us to find a lender for your business, but you need to know how to structure your financing package with all your financing, your financial documents, your credit score, running your credit report. That's a classic FICO score and not a consumer online type report. This is legit stuff. And just give us a call or email us, and we're happy to get you situated. And if nothing else, just know what is available to you and start your research with how to go about doing this. That's what we're here for. So thank you. And the 12 o'clock alarm is going off. I don't know if you can hear it.
I hear the firehouse
but
setting off their 12 o'clock alarm.
Till next week, keep in touch with us on any of your WTF moments, and send us a note and share with us, and we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Batman.